If this hits you in the soul, smash that like button. If you've ever been underestimated, subscribe right now. Because what you're about to hear, it's not just words, it's your mirror. And trust me, you need to see it. Oh, look who finally wakes up. Look who just realized they weren't playing the game. They were the game. Welcome, angels with demon hearts, soft-spoken thunder wrapped in silence. The quiet ones who made everyone feel safe. Right before the world cracked open, something beautiful just happened, didn't it? They looked at your face, saw innocence, and missed the war room behind your eyes. Saw softness, never noticed it was forged steel. Saw youth, mistook it for camouflage. Saw sweetness, never tasted the venom beneath. Here's the secret no one tells you. Having a baby face, looking harmless, seeming innocent, that's not a flaw. It's nature's sharpest weapon, carried like a secret your whole life. They saw prey, but you were always the predator, just one who hunts with a smile, not fangs. They called it vulnerability. It was strategy. Weakness? No, patience. Someone to protect. Try someone to fear. Now they're sitting in the ruins of their own assumptions, rewinding every moment, asking, how did butter cut like a blade? Let me tell you what really happened. They're still confused, still searching for the reveal. But here's the truth. You never took off the mask. You just let them get close enough to see what was always there. The intelligence they ignored because your voice was gentle. The ruthlessness they missed because your smile was warm. The danger they dismissed because your eyes held kindness. You didn't trick them. Trickery implies lies, but you never lied. You just let them lie to themselves. They built a version of you from your face, and you let them live in that fantasy while you mapped their weaknesses, memorized their tells, studied their patterns. Every time they patted your head like you were naive, you were taking notes. Every time they called you simple, you were 3 moves ahead. Every time they tried to control you, you were watching them walk into traps they didn't even know existed. That baby face, it wasn't just cute. It was psychological warfare, dimples hiding detonators, and they never saw it coming. Because your ancestors knew this truth. Survival belongs to those who are seen as harmless, but are unstoppable. You didn't just inherit your features. You inherited the art of being a wolf in lamb's wool. Fire dressed as water. Chaos wearing peace like perfume. They thought your kindness was weakness. But real power, it's choosing not to destroy someone who deserves it. That's not softness. That's sovereignty so refined, it doesn't need to roar. Your silence, they thought it meant emptiness. But you were listening, absorbing languages, decoding gestures, learning the unspoken rules. Your politeness, not submission. It was precision, energy saved for the one strike that ends the war. You weren't being nice, you were being surgical, and that's what breaks them. People who look innocent but aren't create a glitch in the human mind. By the time their brain catches up, you've already won the game they didn't know you were playing. Your face whispers, trust me. Your mind calculates outcomes. Your voice says, I'm harmless. Your actions rewrite reality. You're not lying. You're just vibrating at a frequency most can't detect. Until it's too late. And the cruelest part, they walked into it willingly. Eyes wide open because they couldn't fathom someone who looks like you could think like that. Their prejudice became their prison, their assumptions, their execution. You didn't fight them. You let them battle the ghost they invented while you moved in truth. Now they're replaying every conversation, realizing your innocent questions were recon missions. Your smiles, cover for intel gathering. Every time they taught you, you were profiling them. That innocent face, it was never a lie. It was a mirror, showing them exactly what they wanted to see, while hiding what they needed to fear. You didn't manipulate. You just refused to correct their errors. You didn't deceive. You let their ego write checks their mind couldn't cash. They assumed, young, naive, soft as weak, pretty power simple, quiet or empty. But you knew young, adaptable, soft or strategic, pretty underestimated, quiet, calculating. Now they're choking on their own bias. What really haunts them, not that you outplayed them, but that you did it without changing your expression. No dramatic reveal, no villain monologue. Your truth was always visible. They just couldn't see past their own filters. You've been authentic this whole time. Authentically complex, authentically dangerous, authentically you. Just not the cartoon they painted. They'll call you fake, manipulative, deceptive. Why? Because admitting they were shallow? That's too painful. So let's talk about what the underestimated really know. When you look harmless, people confess secrets. When you seem simple, they reveal their master plans. When you appear weak, they show you exactly where they break. You became the confidant, the safe space where secrets go to die, and your strategy goes to feast. They invited you into rooms you shouldn't be in, thought you were decoration, didn't realize you were documentation, spoke freely in front of you, never knew your memory was sharper than steel, showed you their playbooks, thinking you couldn't read, their fears, thinking you couldn't weaponize, their weaknesses, thinking you couldn't exploit. But you could, and you did. Now they can't explain how the person they dismissed became the one they can't unsee. That innocent face? It's a skeleton key, unlocking doors built to stay shut. Because defenses guard against wolves, not lambs who are wolves. You didn't break in. You were welcomed. Didn't steal intel, it was gifted. Didn't claw for power. You were placed where you needed to be, by people who thought they were doing you a favor. Now they want to warn others. But what do they say? Beware the sweet one? Fear the gentle voice? They'll sound paranoid, bitter, insane, because society still judges books by covers. And your cover hides a storm. You shattered their trust in their own eyes. And that terrifies them more than anything you did. Here's what really guts them. They can't even be mad because you never broke a rule. Never lied, just didn't overshare. Never betrayed, just didn't save them from themselves. Never attacked, just let consequences land. You played by the rules while rewriting the game. They want to paint you as the villain, but villains don't look like you. That's the whole point. You walked in like sunshine, carrying midnight in your bones. Smiled like spring, planned like winter, spoke like honey, moved like poison. That baby face? Genius. It made them feel safe, superior, in control. They thought they were protecting you, while you were protecting yourself from them. Every condescending word, intel, every patronizing gesture, weakness exposed. Every underestimation, power handed to you, wrapped in ignorance. Innocence and capability aren't opposites. They're unrelated, and that mistake cost them everything. You can look like an angel, and command like a general, seem like sugar, and strike like lightning, appear fragile, and be unbreakable. The contradiction only exists in minds too small to hold depth, too rigid to grasp. The most dangerous people rarely look dangerous. Let's talk psychology. When your face triggers protection, but your mind runs ops, you create perception paralysis. Their brain freezes. Can't reconcile the angel with the architect. You've been running field studies since day one. Every interaction, data. Every relationship, a case study in human folly. while they assumed you needed teaching. You were building psychological blueprints, and the irony? They showed you their true selves, because they didn't think you mattered enough to wear a mask. You heard their unfiltered thoughts, because they didn't think you were worth filtering for. That knowledge, power they never meant to give, but gave freely. Now they're haunted. What did she really think when she smiled? Was every question a trap? Was her kindness just strategy? Here's the truth they can't accept. It was all real. You were kind, while being strategic. Were soft, while being lethal. No mask, no act. Just a human too complex for their binary minds. Your face is still innocent. It just belongs to someone who isn't naive. Your voice is still sweet. It just belongs to someone who isn't simple. They can't warn others because you haven't changed. You've just been seen. How do you explain that your gentleness is real? And so is your edge. Your kindness is genuine. And so is your calculation. You mastered the impossible, being exactly who you appear to be, while shattering what that appearance means. You divorced look from ability, surface from substance, and now their whole worldview is crumbling. They wanted you to be either innocent or dangerous. You refused to choose. You are both, fully, fiercely, unapologetically. You're the paradox that breaks their logic, the complexity that obliterates their categories. And the best part, you didn't do this to them. They did it to themselves, by believing people must be one thing. Now, the tactical edge you've built in silence. Every time they dismissed you as too young, you learned their thinking without defending yours, excluded you from serious talks. You gathered intel without revealing your hand, made decisions for you. You let them expose their strategy, while yours stayed hidden. You played poker with cards face up, while they thought you didn't know the rules. But the real game wasn't the cards. It was the psychology, the patience, the long game. Your innocence meant you never wasted energy on posturing. While others roared, you researched. While they fought for scraps, you built empires in silence. Every advantage they had was actually you letting them think they were winning. Now they see it. Their arrogance, documented. Their intelligence, measured and found lacking. Their power, mapped and neutralized. And here we are, in the aftermath. They're grieving the simple story they told themselves about you, denying your depth, angry at their blindness, but they'll never accept it, because that means admitting they were shallow, fooled by looks, defeated by bias, so they'll say you changed. You tricked them. You weren't real. Anything to avoid the truth. You were always this. They just couldn't see it. You're watching them scramble now, rewriting history, inventing signs they missed. But it's fantasy. They weren't equipped to see you. Their worldview had no room for your kind of power. So they forced you into a box and paid for it. The beauty? You don't owe them clarity. Don't need to explain. Don't have to shrink so they can sleep. That innocent face, the trap's already sprung. Now they're tangled in their own assumptions, struggling against the very prejudice that blinded them. You're not responsible for their limited sight, not here to soothe their ego. And remember this, you never deceived anyone. You were authentically you. They just couldn't process a truth that didn't fit their template. Your face, real. Your voice, real. Your gentleness, real. The lie was theirs. Appearance, capability, looks, limits, surface, soul. You're living proof. The most powerful don't need to look powerful. The most dangerous don't announce themselves. The most strategic win in silence. You weaponized their superficiality, turned their judgment into your advantage, transformed their underestimation into your edge. You didn't create this game. but you've mastered it in ways that leave them questioning reality. That baby face, your all-access pass, to rooms, to secrets, to power. Power they said you couldn't have, because power, to them, has a face. Intelligence has a look. Capability has a uniform. You proved them wrong, not with words, but with wins. Not with noise, but with nuance. They blame you for their blindness, want to punish you for their prejudice, but you did nothing wrong, except exist as a contradiction to their small minds. You didn't pretend to be innocent. You just aren't naive, didn't fake harmlessness. You just know when to strike and when to spare. Didn't act sweet. You just know sugar can poison or heal, and that's the art they'll never understand.